Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Teresa's Kitchen. Go ahead and turn that oven on to 350 because what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be baking a homemade Philadelphia cream cheese pound cake in a loaf style. So when I say loaf, loaf. I chose to do the loaf. Why? Because I don't want to sit here and have to eat up this whole cake. So here are the ingredients that we'll be using. We'll be using one package of Philadelphia cream cheese, a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 3/4 sticks of room temperature butter, unsalted, and you have your eggs at room temperature. And then you're going to be using 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and we're going to go ahead and begin. So I forgot once again, we need sugar. I forgot to tell you guys we need sugar. We need at least a cup and a half of sugar. And also, in order to sift your flour, you will need what is called a sifter. This is a sifter. And what it does is once you put the flour in, you just turn it like this, and it will sift all of the lumps out of the flour. It's okay if you don't have one. You might have a handheld one, or you may have one of these. If not, you can easily just use a fork just to make sure there's no lumps inside of the flour. You are going to need like 2 separate bowls. One bowl is going to be specifically for the room temperature butter and the room temperature eggs. You're going to cream those together with the sugar. That's 1.5 cups of sugar. And then once you cream those together nice and smoothly, then you're going to add in 1 cup at a time of your flour after you have sifted all the lumps out of it. Again, the process goes like this. Your eggs are at room temperature. You're going to be blending in 1 egg at a time with the butter until it begins to cream, and you will gradually add your sugar, and it's going to turn into like what look like a cake batter mixture. So I'm just telling you the step-by-step process. And once all of the egg and the butter and the sugar has been combined and creamed together, then you will pour 1 cup at a time of your flour, and then it's going to turn into a nice creamy velvety cake batter. Okay, so to my sifter I've added 1 cup of flour. Hope you guys can see it. Little technical difficulties, but it's a cup of flour. So what I'm gonna do, this is the sifter right here, and what it does is make the flour fine where there's no lumps. So I'm sifting it until it's all gone, and I'm only doing 1 cup of flour at a time. This is why we use the sifter. The sifter was used to basically not have balls of flour left inside of your cake. So this is what it looks like after I've sifted all of the flour, and this is what the flour looks like, nice and smooth and fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to sift the next cup of flour, and we'll continue on with getting our pound cake together. Okay, so I poured in my 2nd cup of flour. I'm going to pour it in right now. I'm going to go ahead and sift it. Make sure you measure the ingredients. And as we can see, as I'm sifting, you have all that fine flour coming out. So now I'm going to add in another 2 eggs. Make sure you don't get any eggshells inside of your mixture. And then I'm also am going to add a half a stick of butter on this go round. This is where I'm blending in all of my ingredients. So I'm gonna cut a half a stick of butter off into the bowl. And then I'm gonna add another half a cup of sugar. And I'm going to continue to cream all the ingredients together. While I'm creaming, I'm going to also add that last egg. So now that I've creamed the egg, the butter, and sugar together, this is what your mixture is gonna look like. So what I'm gonna do, again, I told you I like to do stuff by hand. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of flour to the mixture, the butter, the egg, and the sugar, a little bit at a time. And I'm just gonna mix until it looks like a cake batter. Just gonna keep mixing. And this is where you use your muscles. I actually learned how to make a cake when I was a teenager. This lady named Ms. Young, she taught me how to make my first cake. I was always in the kitchen with her, and she pulled me to the side. And she showed me how to make my first homemade pound cake. And this is it right here. Philadelphia cream cheese pound cake. And you'll just be so surprised to know that you don't need any milk. You don't need any water. These are just all the ingredients that you will need for this delicious pound cake. See, so far it's coming together. So I'm gonna add the last cup of flour. So here it is, fresh out the oven. Philadelphia cream cheese pound cake, and it is a loaf. So we're just gonna wait about 5 or 10 minutes for it to cool off before I actually slice the cake. So I did have to add on an additional 10 minutes. It depends on how your stove cook. So I went from 50 minutes to like an hour. So I just cut into the pound cake. It's nice and moist. Make sure it's like cooled off, so therefore it won't break off so easily. But this is the end result. So if you like what you see, comment, like, and subscribe. And have a good evening. And this is Teresa's pound cake. Have a good evening.